New rankings just dropped. Yes, sir. Time to talk about it. Now, I do like James Madison finally getting some respect. They having a good year, obviously, in the Sun Belt Conference. They are finally ranked in the CFP poll. Big game coming up for North Texas and Tulane for the American Championship on Friday. Meston Maker has been dynamite this year. Should be a high-scoring affair. Iowa's obviously back in it. A little bit of a surprise at 8-4 this year, but I guess the committee thought they were worthy enough to get a spot. Now, this one's a little bit surprising with Georgia Tech. 9-3 have lost obviously 3 of the last 4, but actually moved up a spot in the rankings. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I was thoroughly surprised because it felt like they've been disrespected in the rankings all year. But I have to commend the committee; they did move them up a spot. Close loss to Georgia, 16-9. Couldn't get the offense going, but did what they were supposed to do in that game to make it close. So good to see them at number 22, and they've worked really hard to get to this point. Big day tomorrow for National Signing Day. We'll see if they can close on some targets, but that is the latest around the Yellow Jackets. Number 22, not a bad spot to be in. All right, now obviously Houston, they've had their fair share of good wins and bad losses. One bad loss was to West Virginia, but they obviously ranked at number 21. So good to see them moving back up in the poll. We'll see if they're able to finish strong, though. Tulane, they're losing their head coach, John Summerall, at the end of the year, but he's going to still coach the program. Big-time game, as I talked about earlier, with them in North Texas to see who is probably going to get that Group of 5 spot between the winner of those two teams. Michigan didn't slide really too much. Number 19, not a great win, not a great loss against, obviously, Ohio State. 27-9, got pummeled. I think Bryce Underwood only had 8 completions in that game. They really shut them down, man. So Michigan at number 19, likely on the outside looking in when it comes to making the CFP playoff. And how about Arizona? Giving it to the rival, obviously, number 25, Arizona State. They look good. Noah Fafita has been doing his thing, and just seeing them continue to climb. If everything goes how it's supposed to, you could even see Arizona climb to top 15 potentially in the CFP poll when the season is over. Now, the team I think that's getting disrespected just a little bit is going to be Virginia. Big win against their rival. They've lost, obviously, before that. 8 of the past 9. They now have won only 2 of the past 20 games against Virginia Tech, but the defense was dynamite. Only 4 completions in that game for Kyron Drones. Did what they were supposed to do. No Cam Robinson, Maddox Marcellus stepped up big for Virginia, and it was a great all-around wire-to-wire victory. Jamari Taylor had a touchdown pass, and he had a rushing touchdown. Big win for the Hoos. I think they dominate Duke this week. Now, next up, obviously, you got USC and obviously the Trojans. You know what they've been able to do this upcoming year. They're going to finish the year at 9-3. Not a bad spot, but not good enough to make the CFP playoff. Unfortunate for, obviously, Lincoln Riley. We'll see how much they're going to be able to prove, but he should be good enough to save his job. Utah, we know about them and Devon Dampier, how elite that offense can be. Just the big games they struggled with this past year. So obviously a tough spot for them to be in, but likely not making the CFP playoff. Now let's talk about Vandy. Vandy's making the argument, hey, we should be in, right? Obviously 10-2 on the year. 2 losses was to Texas, obviously Alabama, but they sit at number 14. It's going to be very difficult for them to get in the CFP playoff. I don't see it. Now, if you're any of these teams bunched up at the top, if you are Vandy, you should feel worried. If you are obviously Miami, you should feel worried because Texas is number 13 in the country at 9-3. I think they're a team that should be in over Vandy, over Oklahoma. But that really good win against Texas A&M did a lot to help them. They're not too far out. Now, obviously, you got the Hurricanes. Their season is done. 10-2 on the year. Will they miss the playoffs for the second consecutive time at 10-2? Big decision this upcoming weekend. If you're Miami, you need BYU to lose. I hate to be that guy. I know they're going to obviously extend their head coach. But if you're the Hurricanes, you need BYU to lose this weekend, and you need Bama to lose this weekend. Why do you need Bama? Bama, that would be 3 losses on the year for them. Likely not going to get into a playoff spot. They're in a must-win scenario. BYU will be at 2 losses. Obviously, both will be to Texas Tech. If they get pummeled again, Miami has an argument to get into, obviously, the college football playoff for what they've been able to do this year. They just pummeled, obviously, Pittsburgh on the road in an emphatic win. So if you're the Hurricanes, your rooting guy this week, Bama loss and a BYU loss if you want to get in the CFP playoff. Notre Dame obviously gets in one of those last spots at number 10. We know what they've been able to obviously do this year. Is their resume better than Miami's? Hey, kind of like pulling teeth with that one. Some people are going to feel one kind of way. Other people are going to feel another kind of way. I still will go with Miami's resume over Notre Dame's. This is my humble opinion. Bama, like I just said, must-win territory. You got to beat Georgia if you want to secure that playoff spot. If you don't, I don't see them making the CFP playoff, humbly. Oklahoma, y'all know how I feel about them. I would have Oklahoma lower than 8. That's just me. I don't think Oklahoma's as good as people think. They do have 2 losses, but the last 2 weeks, they're not a team that's trending in the right way. They're a team that's trending down. So if I'm obviously the committee, I wouldn't rank Oklahoma this high. I would move this around a little bit. But nonetheless, they got them at number 8. Not too surprised to see Texas A&M fall to number 7 and number 3 in the country. Lost to Texas on the road, but like I said, they're not a contender. They'll make the CFP playoff. Obviously, they're gonna be just fine. Ole Miss, we know about them. Obviously, the Rebels losing Lane Kiffin, tough spot to be in, but they did retain Charlie Weiss as the offensive coordinator, so it does help them and obviously help them in the eyes of the committee. So they should be just fine. It's gonna be interesting to see how they look without their head coach Lane Kiffin, though. Oregon is Oregon. They've been dominating all year. They're a lock 11-1 on the year. They're locked into the playoffs. Texas Tech, I doubt there's a scenario, even if they were to get upset by BYU and lose in the obviously Big 12 championship, I doubt there's a scenario where they don't make the CFP. They've just been really good this year. Only one loss. They should be fine. Georgia is Georgia. Hey, they can win in a multitude of ways. Regardless, even if they lose to Bama, they'll still be in the CFP playoff. They've shown they're one of the top teams in the country. Indiana is Indiana. Obviously going to play Ohio State this weekend. I can't wait. Neither one of those teams 12-0, 12-0. They might move around a little bit, but the winner of that game will obviously be the number 1 overall seed in the college football playoff. Pretty much Heisman candidates. Heisman resume is going to be on the line. Fernando Mendoza, Julian Sand should be a good one for a Big Ten championship. Can't wait. So there y'all have it, y'all. That's my reaction. That's my thoughts on the newest CFP playoff rankings.